Kumoiche, Bayis Regilin Lehistakel Boy Tomed Alakol, the Alkulam, a house that everybody is used to, the parents and everyone in the house, always look at everything and everyone. Mitoich Mabat Chiyuvi, from a cook, a look of a positive outlook. Every person, whoever they come up to discuss at the Shabbos table, they always have a nice word to say about them. Wow, he's such a nice person, and the Rav is such a good Rav, and the neighbors are such good neighbors. Oh, this organization, such a good organization. And they're always speaking positive. And they're always talking about the positive in each part. Listen what happens. Harizeh mashpia, that influences ala yeladim, on the children. Ba'oifin bilti yashir, in an indirect way. Hashpa yisera, an incredible hashpa influence. Lirtzais rakas hatoiv, to desire and want to be good. Now listen what he's saying very carefully. It's a huge chiddush. I thought he would say, if you're going to always talk positive, they'll also talk positive. He says, no. When you always talk positive about the world and about all kinds of people, they will want to behave and be a part of that society that they grew up admiring. Life is great. The rabbi is wonderful. The people, the neighbors are great. This organization is great. Wow, chashav person, nice person. The kid grows up healthy and says, I want to behave. I want to be good. But listen what happens. L'umazos, bias in a home, shehamabat shel ha'horim, that the cook, the outlook of the parents, who be ikarei shlili, is generally speaking negative. Royim b'chol ish rak tzadav hashlilim. Every time they talk about anybody, it's always a negative thing. B'chul shaisav, and his weakness. Maitzim b'chol echad chesroinais, eich sheroitze b'kol, rak lahanois atzmai chayoitze b'zeh. In every single person, they always pull out the chesroinais. They say, oh, that guy, the organization, he just means himself. This guy, oh, you know what he's doing? He's a balgaiva. This organization, I don't really think they do. Negativity. They are moilid, they mamish, poor kids. They put into their children netiya, a netiya shlilis, lachshay v'lirais rakra. The first step is, they're always going to see negative. It instills negative character traits to always be negative and critical in the world. But it gets even worse than that. The imkol b'nei adam roim, and if everybody out there, the Hatzalah guy is bad, and that Rav is bad, and the other Rav is bad, and the Chassidus is bad, and this Reb is bad, and everything is bad, imkol b'nei adam roim, harizeh bateva, shegam hem yirtzu liyos ra'im. It's a chiddush to me. I would say, well, we spoke negative about everybody. You're probably going to want to be good like me, be normal like me. No. He says everybody's bad, he's going to end up wanting to be bad. Interesting. So it destroys the kids. Now let's think about it. What he's saying is, some people, they speak negatively, but they think they're doing it l'shem shemayim. The kids don't know that. The kids don't know that these two people are having a fight l'shem shemayim. They don't know that this Rebbe is more chashiv and this Rebbe is a whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the kids are growing up with negativity. He's telling you that that's going to create poison. It's an atmosphere which creates an infection in the children. That they're not going to, first of all, they're not going to chap and remember, oh, this guy was good and this guy was bad. They're going to look at everything as negative. They're going to look at you parents as negative. Whatever you give the kids, it's never going to be good enough. People are worried about spoiling their kids. They're getting it wrong. Spoiling the kids is because they're always going to want a lot. You know why they want a lot? Because they don't appreciate what they have. You know why they don't appreciate what they have? Could be because you put into their mouth a bitter taste about everything. Because if you're not happy with what God gave you, and you're always complaining about everything and everyone in every way, then whatever they get is also never going to be good enough. And not only are they going to turn on the world, they're going to turn on you. So you're actually creating that they're not going to appreciate you, because when they were 3 and 5 and 7 and 9 and 10, you put them in an atmosphere where everything is not good enough. Oh yeah, so Bobby brought it over. She just wants attention. Always finding a negative way will not only cause the kids to be negative to everyone, it'll cause them to be negative to you, and it'll cause them to want to be bad. That's a tremendous chiddush psychologically. I'm really struggling to understand what the Nesivas Shalom says. It's going to make being bad attractive to them. The whole world is bad anyway, and therefore, why should I even bother being good? And at the end, that's a very, very big damage. V'chein b'bayis, shemedabrim b'harotza al elu, shematzlichim lasos chaim, in a house where they speak with admiration and almost jealousy about people who are living it up and they have a good time, or sheyesh lehem harbe kesef, where they have a lot of money, harsim bazeh, they destroy es nefesh hayeladim. They destroy the soul of the children. Gamim yidabu harbe al ahavas Torah. Even if also we talk about ahavas Torah, but the kids say, but you know what my parents really appreciate? You know what they really look up to? That guy. So if you walk in and you have that like sparkles in your eyes and you say, whoa, did you see that guy's new car? Did you see that new house? They know right away from that sparkle that that's really what you look up to and what you admire. To a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, to young kids, what gets imbued in them is not what you talk about. It's what turns you on, what makes you happy and look up to. And that's how they perceive it. So you can have a very frum family learning in Kailul. And they can be mamish talking ahavas HaTorah at the Shabbos table and everything is, frum. The father can come in and the kid sees that smile, that admiration that he has for the gvir. The kid thinks, when I get older, I want to be a gvir. They see the sparkle in your eye of what you really appreciate in your life. Because you give such an attitude, such value to those people that are living it up and going on vacation, it's absorbed into their own nature. It's not a decision that they make, it's just a part of who they are. He's going to grow up, he's going to want to party. You're going to say, I don't understand, why do you want to go have a good time? Why are you so magushim? You know why? Because when he was a kid, you brought in that atmosphere into your life. Mitam ze noidas chashivus miyuchedes lekach she'abonim yargishu kama choshev be'eni aharim kishaboyim etzel kareisav avdei Hashem. Therefore, it's crucial, it's critical that the children see how important it is for the parents to host Ovdei Hashem. Because when chashav a person comes, a Talmid Chacham comes, and you serve him and you bring him in, it shows to the kid more than all of your speeches who you look up to, right? What you look up to as, wow, look who's coming, big tzaddik is coming. That's a real impression. He says that's why when you have the opportunity to host chashav people, the impression on the children is huge. If you do all of this, you don't have to say anything. Right? Another example is, and listen how Edel is talking about the atmosphere, that the kids pick up on everything. So an example I think is artwork. There are families that they have artwork on their walls. Now the kid knows you spent a lot of money, you spent a lot of time, you put this on your walls. What are you putting up on your walls? You're putting up things that you look up to. So what is it that you look up to? I went this Shabbos, and I went to someone's house. I walked into a house. I walked about 20 minutes. I had someone to visit there. I went in. I said, wow, what a Torah house. Wall to wall, gedolim. Everything, paintings, pictures, the whole thing was, the whole house. I didn't see any other artwork besides gedolim. There's no question that the kids in that house, they have, 13 of them, right? Those kids are growing up. They know what's important to Mami and Tati. That's the Rebbe, that's the Rosh Hashiva, that's what you look up to. Think about it, if you put up other artwork, you're showing them, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not anti-artwork, but it's the impression of the children, they know what you look up to, they know what's important to you. If you say, no pictures of rabbis in the house, that goes in the study or in the basement, but in the dining room we need a big whatever, then they know that. They understand that to you, the rabbi doesn't belong in the dining room. That's not the person that you're looking up to. And here's really the chiddush of what he said. Go back and think about everything he just said. The setup, the canvas, the tchunas hanefesh of the parents, the sviva. This is before we didn't even open our mouth yet. And think about the difference between a child growing up with everything done right to give them a chance, and things that are not done right, and of course we're going to have more chinuch problems. Very important is that sviva, the environment with a child is growing up in such an environment. If it's an authentically frum atmosphere, and if it's together with morally refined people who have these beautiful character traits, Ve'eichem hachaverim. And how are the friends? Shemischaber musrei moim. Shari teva adam liyos nimshach achri chaverav. The natural thing is for parents, for people, to be nimshach. How do you say to nimshach? To be drawn. To be drawn, to be influenced, to be drawn and influenced after his chaverim. B'zeh krevei harbe ma'od. Those things are all very, very important. Uviyamenu, he wrote this over 30 years ago. Zeh b'chlal zeh, yesh b'chlal zeh gam esifrei akriya. Books. Shem chas v'shalom karei svarim psulim. If the child reads svarim psulim, shenishtav b'hem divrei kfira, that has mixed in divrei kfira, rachman al-itzlan, svarim luchlachim u'mzuhamim, or vulgar material, that will create a terrible thing, like be mortally wounded from being exposed to these things. What in the world would he say about today, about how careful we need to be about what our kids are exposed to? 30 years ago, it was books. Taka books had kfira, books had other things in it. Today, we have to be so careful that our kids are not exposed to all these things. Kasha ma'od. It's difficult to find a medicine, a treatment against that exposure. My brothers, my friends, have rahmanis on yourselves and on your homes. And don't let your families get burned in the fire, which is difficult to extinguish. If not, for extinguish it in an ocean of tears and tshuva yisera. On the loss of your soul and the soul of your children. And really, that's what we have to think about. And I'm surprised, in regular chinuch, a lot of families find out afterwards that they had computers at home without filters, or they have phones without filters on. It's mamish the craziest thing in the world. And some parents will fight with me, and they'll say, no, my kid is not going to. Say, first of all, what's the downside? What's the downside? Why are you fighting it? There shouldn't be any kalim that the kid, a regular kid, there are so many stories of kids that weren't even looking for shmutz. They just went on and they happened to press something, and there are a lot of bad websites that are similar to good websites, and they plugged in the wrong thing, and they end up getting a trauma of watching things that you shouldn't see ever, or at least shouldn't even know about or think about until you're an adult. And the parents afterwards realize, wow, we didn't put a filter on it. It's like mamish the craziest thing. They put a gun in the kid's hand. I'm not talking about teenagers where they're fighting with you. I'm talking about regular chinuch. We have to be so careful. There shouldn't be any access to anything. You should know that the PS3s and a lot of these games, they have open internet on them. And the kids know how to go ahead and do that. You got to hire somebody, a genius, to come in. And just like we wouldn't have any, let's say, nuclear things floating in the air, we wouldn't want our kids to get any poison, lead poisoning. We would do testing. We have to make sure that our kids are not exposed to any of these things, because it has a terrible, terrible effect. A lot of people, they give their kids things and they say, no, but he won't. And again, it's just such mishigas. Yes, he will. No one's an angel. Kids are curious, boys and girls. And once they see things, it enters their mind. They can't stop thinking about it, and they can get drawn into stuff years before they were ready to do it. It's almost like Nebuch being molested by an adult. They could be molested by things that they see. And they don't want it. They didn't ask for it. But after it's already there, so some parents will let the kids watch Netflix or Hulu or something, but they don't realize that when you go outside, they can put in other stuff that's on there. We have to be super, super careful to make sure they don't have any access to anything. Again, I'm not talking about trauma and kids off the derech that we have to deal with it and they're just going to get another device. I'm talking about healthy, innocent kids that we're bringing up, that we have to be super, super careful that the hashpah is very, very pure and beautiful. Okay. That's end of chapter 2.